Okay, track 2, Tomorrow's Dream.
Tomorrow's Dream, yeah. I think it's not really been said as such, but it does seem obvious this is an attempt to repeat Paranoid. Even the hopelessness of the lyrics. There's a similarity there with the lyrics. Musically, there's a similarity. It's not as memorable as Paranoid, but it's got a lovely middle section. When sadness fills my day, it's time to turn away, which would never have happened in Paranoid, and that's showing how they're really good at structuring the songs now.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if this is sort of like the record company saying that we need a big hit like Paranoid, because obviously on the last album they didn't go for an all-out pop song, did they?
No, there was
nothing. Maybe that got the record company a little bit edgy, like.
Yeah.
So maybe they tried to sell this as the Paranoid.
It might have been the management, which we're not going to talk about too much, but because they were a real problem. But yeah, so predictably it bombed, and all it would have done was hurt their image, because they're trying for the other side of things, image.
Yeah.
They want to be accepted like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd. That's what they want to be seen as. Mm-hmm. And by doing a single, it's not going to work. It's not like today, where things are very different.
Yeah. Which brings us on to track 3. Changes.
Changes. Now, the thing about changes, the thing about reviewing changes, if you analyse it at all, you think that's awful. You know, Tony Iommi taught himself to play piano. So Tony Iommi didn't know how to play piano, and he plays piano on this track. So obviously he goes do 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 do. It's in C because that's the piano-friendly track. You know, and Ozzy sings about losing his woman with a syrupy vocal line, and then you've got Mellotron even on there. You know, it sounds awful, and yet it's wonderful, isn't it? Changes is such a great song. It's brilliant.
It's probably lasted the longest of all these songs, isn't it? In terms of
it's the only Sabbath related song to ever be number 1 in the UK. Which is bizarre. Played live. Ozzy played it live in 91, 2, 3. No, 91 or 92. And Sabbath played it live in 95, strangely. It's quite good. Only twice or something like that. It's actually, maybe apart from Supernaut and Snowblind, it's the most iconic thing on there, and it's certainly the most famous song on there.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it shouldn't work, but it does, it's Ozzy. It's whatever Ozzy's got, Ozzy's mojo is there on that song.
Yeah.
So it was appropriate for him to re-release it later.
Track 4?
Yeah,
Effects.
However, track 4, Effects. This is obviously some deeply experimental music, and they must have spent a lot of time thinking out how they're going to make these sounds. They had a lot of drugs, so obviously they spent a lot of time naked, as you do, but you still wear your crosses when you're naked. So you've got your guitar and your crosses and you're naked, so you walk around the studio recording the crosses hitting the guitar. It's just a waste of time. The good thing about it is it's 1 minute 40.
Yeah.
It is the intro to Supernaut in a way, but who cares? Waste of time.
I quite like it.
Okay.
I like stupid things like that. The audacity to put that. So I got 1 minute 40 of your album with that. That gets a little bit of kudos.
But track 5.
Supernaut.
Did you know Supernaut before you listened to this album?
Not really, no.
Oh really? Okay. It's a famous riff. It's a big riff. And it's very un-Sabbath, but actually very typical of the time and everything. I mean, it's Black Knight. Actually, it's Deep Purple, isn't it? You know, or it's Living Loving Maid, or any of those songs. You know, it's those same notes again. It's almost Aqualung. You know, the big thing about Supernaut that everyone talks about is the percussive breakdown. And here, Bill Ward is showing what a fantastic drummer he is. It is controversial to say, but it's not surprising I'm saying it, in that I'm not a fan of John Bonham. But as far as I'm concerned, if Bill Ward had been sober, he would have owned John Bonham. You know, he could do all those different styles that John Bonham did, and I think this should have been, you know, a massive drum album for drummers. And I think Supernaut, he nails it. But there's some other moments where he doesn't nail it, and it's because he's off his head. And that's one of the things that makes the album so weird, actually.
That's quite a big statement, Kev. I mean, John Bonham is a local hero. You know, you don't say bad things about John Bonham in Riddich. So, you know, Kev's saying quite a lot there.
Yeah, Bill. That's the thing. Bill Ward isn't recognised as this. Obviously, he's just recognised as, well, he's the Sabbath drummer, so that's great. But and I think he is.
I don't think any of them are really recognised. I think that the narrative was, or the story is, Tony Iommi's the talent, and everyone else just does what he says. So he is Black Sabbath sort of thing, which is.
And Geezer's got a good brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is a band. It is a format thing. There's something there. And Supernaut. Frank Zappa said it was his favourite Sabbath song. Later on, he said Iron Man. But
Okay, track 6.
Snowblind. I think this is the best thing on the album. It's Supernaut and Snowblind are the ones you will find on Sabbath compilations. It's Wheels of Confusion and Under the Sun are loved by sort of metal enthusiasts, if you like. This is fantastic. This is on par with Iron Man and Into the Void and all those brilliant tracks. It's obviously the track Snowblind's about cocaine. Ozzy saying cocaine and about icicles within my brain, and there's a real that melancholy to it about is it good, is it bad? It's not really saying cocaine is good. It's saying I'm lost in a way, and that's what the music's saying. And there's some fantastic bits in it. I love the My Eyes Are Blind. All that stuff with an in-tune guitar. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, really good.
And again, Tony Iommi's coming out with all these riffs. They're still coming out. Apparently, he started to have his writer's block, which was more of a problem with the next album. But you think about it, the amount of riffs he's coming out with, it's ridiculous. And now, at least by this point, they've reached the point where they would all turn up on time pretty much for rehearsals, but then the three of them would go to the pub and Tony Iommi would be left to think of something, and they'd come back and say, "You thought of anything yet?" It's not really very fair, is it?
No.
But he did. So
he kept doing it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's you can't say any more than that's an epic track.
Track 7.
Cornucopia.
The Horn of Plenty. This is the weirdest thing on the album. It's a really strange song, and here you get the most volume 4-ness, if you like, and it's muffled and it's bizarre and strange arrangement of the intro now is recognised. Oh, that's a heavy riff, and then into that bizarre riff. What is that? It's so strange. It's just 2 notes, and it's a big bouncy happy thing, and dee 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 dee. But then back into the such a strange arrangement, and this is where Bill Ward really struggled to nail it. Supposedly because he was drunk, because he was off his head, and in a way, maybe had he nailed it, it would have been amazing. But at the same time, the fact that it's kind of all over the place, it feels so off kilter, partially because the drums are a bit confused. He's obviously hearing something in his head, and it is busy performance, But that's the feel of the album, the drugginess. And I think on Cornucopia more than anywhere else. It's also the production. And the production varies through the album a bit about how rubbish the production is, and it's kind of rubbish on Cornucopia in that it's muffled and like you're hearing it under a blanket. It's like that. It's very strange.
Yeah, it feels sort of like a work in progress.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's like they were so out. They're doing something weird, but they're not able to.
It's not. That can sound quite inventive, but it's not weird like say King Crimson tracks a bit weird, because obviously that's incredibly structured and everything's done on purpose. This feels a little bit freeform, which you would expect Bill Ward to do quite well at that sort of thing. I would have said
it's the drink, it's the drugs.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It's sort of like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and we know they can. It's not. We know they hadn't lost it, and we know they can do that. But because of the next album, obviously they were able to finish things off and tighten the arrangements and all that stuff. But not here.
Track 8.
Laguna Sunrise. Did you know Laguna Sunrise before this album?
No.
I'm going to be controversial. I don't know if it's controversial. It's too simple. It's too long. It's just some guitar strumming. It is really, it's music, written with the roadie going do 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 ding ding do 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 do, and then going do 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 do, watching the sunset in I think on the beach or something. But it's just insipid. It's just
it's someone who's not playing to their strengths, trying to find something different.
Yeah.
As you said, they're trying to each trying to change the sound a little bit. In that process, something's gonna sound quite inventive and different to you. Well, you can assume it's inventive, because it sounds different to you,
Yeah.
and it's not what you're normally doing, and that's what this is, I think.
I mean, maybe it's controversial. I think some people like it, but it seems extreme mediocrity to me. You know, Solitude, an amazing song, and we know he can do it because I think Fluff succeeds in that area. You know, but I don't think Laguna Sunrise does. I think it's just vacuous.
Track 9.
It's the Vitus Dance. The title is inappropriate, I think, because again, this is another strange one like Cornucopia, but less extreme. Possibly suffering from too many tracks, because it is. I mean, I know this is so loved by a certain portion of the metal areas, but maybe because it's track 9, it kind of goes by and it's very short, and the riff is do 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 do, but then it goes into the da 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 da. I mean, unlike Cornucopia, this sounds like generic Sabbath in a way. I do like it. They do a key change and it works quite well, but then it ends anyway because it's only 2 minutes 25.
They're trying to be creative in all areas, especially areas that they don't need to be. Like Cornucopia, where has that come from? Who in Black Sabbath knows what Cornucopia is?
Oh, it's Geezer. It's got to be Geezer. Yeah.
But are they doing reading at this point? Are they sort of trying to...
Well, I wonder if more than we're led to believe, or at least Geezer, because, I mean, Snowblind, apparently, the sort of icicles within my brain, the desire to be sort of cold, but also happy, and that sort of melancholy. Apparently, there's a real parallel with some classic 18th century poet, I don't know his name.
Oh, right.
Which is very, very interesting. So maybe Geezer's reading around.
I wonder. See, I don't really know the etymology of the title of that music.
Yeah, but it's obviously it's the name of a horrible disease, and yet it's all do 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 do. You know, it doesn't seem appropriate.
Track 10.
Track 10.
Under the Sun.
Under the Sun. Now this is, depending on your viewpoint, this is either top drawer or second tier. It's another strange one though. I mean, it goes in the same category as Wheels of Confusion. And it starts with your classic, what is now recognised as a heavy riff. And that links it to Older Sabbath. But then you've got the verse riff. Is the strangest verse riff. In a sense, it's not that far from, as in Electric Funeral. But and the band comes in. I mean, that's actually a fantastic riff. You know, there's nothing like that. It is very strange. And then you've got the faster bit, which became called Every Day Comes and Goes, and you've got a nice bit of Iommi soloing with the key changes. But the big thing is the big finale. It was interesting, we were talking about with the other albums how they don't really have ending songs. This is very much an ending song. Mm-hmm. Probably more than any other Sabbath album, possibly, except maybe Lonely Is the Word and Over and Over. And it's brilliant. That bit, classic bit of Sabbath, that should end all Sabbath compilations. It should, brilliant. And it overwhelms the rest of the song in a way. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's great to have a song that actually finishes the album for once.
Yeah.
Obviously the first two albums, I was just playing songs that they'd already written and trying to arrange it in such a way that it made a coherent album. But yeah, it's a very interesting track to finish on, and it's quite the finale.
So that's volume 4. It's almost impossible to egg.
Well, because there are sort of tracks on there that you sort of like FX, and maybe even change it. I mean, if you were going to judge changes on this album alone, you wouldn't give it a particularly high rating. And Laguna Sunrise, there's
a couple of things that are rubbish. That's true.
Tracks. So, I mean, the tendency is because the sound of it is sort of highly replicated today, or you can hear it in the tendency is to give it a high egg rating. Actually, on its own, maybe it's a 3-egger.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
So yeah, we'll leave it at that, I think.
Controversial. Hate mail.
Yeah.
Sam.
So yeah, the weirdest one of the 6, obviously, volume 4. See us next week.
Yeah. Or next time.
We won't see you next week because we can't see you.
Yeah.
See you soon.